want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh nosh, you don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Alright, go for it.
Right, here we go. Welcome to episode number 52 of the Chippy Tea podcast. What is the... Hi, Stephen. Can you hear him screaming in the background?
Is it background?
What is the Chippy Tea podcast? It is your chance to catch up with me and Danny D as we basically look at what we've done the last week. We just have a little bit of a chinwag, a little bit of a banter about what's going on in our lives in screen print. Not entirely just screen print. We try and keep on subject as much as we can, but it is me and Danny. And it seems though this has been 52 episodes since we started. This is almost close to a year, and it makes us think that, 52 episodes ago, Danny sent me a text to say, yeah, do you know what? Shall we do a podcast? And I was like, hang on, let me Google. What's a podcast?
Should we tell the true origin story? Shall we get into it just a little bit?
We can do. I'm not sure where you're going with it, but we can do.
Well, this time a year ago, maybe a little bit over, I went on another podcast. Not sure.
Oh shit, yeah.
And
you went on another podcast, didn't you? Well, I'm sure I were in Dubai.
You was in Africa. You were in Africa.
We're in Africa.
Because I specifically remember you saying you was in a pub in Africa, and the beer were cheap. So you were quite chuffed.
Yeah. I can still remember that about Africa. Can't remember anything else except the beer were like you got a litre for about 60p.
That's it, yeah. I really do remember that. And anyway, I'd just come off this podcast with another person, and they made me feel like shit, to be honest. Quite condescending, brought up some stuff, and generally
I can remember,
pretty rubbish about myself.
They brought up your tax status.
And all sorts
of really condescending.
Yeah.
Patronising, talking down to you. And you called me.
Yeah. Well, I swore I would... After that, I thought, right, this is it. I'm never doing another podcast. I'm going to go into my little shell. I'm not going to be a public face on my Instagram. Just get on with the printing, post my T-shirt pictures up. None of the personable approach that I have took in the past, social media-wise, marketing-wise. Just get rid of it. So I don't like it, no. I'm not really I don't know, I'm a very private person anyway, naturally. So it goes against my nature. And then after that just made me feel like crap. And anyway, so I think you sort of brought the idea up and we sort of came...
I don't think I brought the idea up.
I'm sure you did.
You asked me what I thought. I'm probably 3 or 4 of these cheap beers in. I told you truthfully what I thought. I thought it was horrible.
That's right, yeah.
And we may at some point have uttered the words we could do better.
Yeah, I think it was sort of like a passing joke, a little slight joke. We could do a better job. How wrong we were. But, so I guess it was kind of like a little bit, started off as a joke. And then before we knew it, a couple of weeks later, we had a phone call, didn't we? And we said, right, let's just have an hour phone call and see how awkward it is.
Fuck, I forgot about the practice
Remember?
phone call.
And we just sat on that phone for an hour, talked about printing, no bother. It was probably the best episode we ever did. We should have recorded it. And then
we didn't record it, did we?
No, it was literally just, let's just sit on phone and see if it gels type of thing. And it was a bit like first dates, wasn't it, really? I'd see I'd see. And then again, it was like... Sight. Yeah. And anyway, so we've done 52 episodes ever since.
So, where was I then last year? Was it only last year?
Yeah, it was a year ago. This is the 52nd episode. We missed 2 episodes. So it was about 2 weeks ago, would have been, in terms of actual time, a year. But this is the 52nd week. 52nd.
I'm trying to look back at my... I'm trying to look back at my... 52 episodes. 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 52
Where's Jordan? Oh no, Jordan's. It wasn't Jordan. It was
So,
at
do you
Cape
know
Town?
where I was in Ireland?
Yeah, that very first episode you
The
was in
first
Ireland.
episode, I was in Ireland, yeah.
You were, because you had a really scenic view on a canal or a river or something like that. And that was when the very first... That's right, I remember. We were talking about Guinness and blackcurrant.
Yeah. 23rd of June, 2022.
God, don't time fly? It don't feel like a year to me.
No, but it is. It's a year. Before that, I don't think I were in Africa, so it must have been a while before we actually got down to it.
Yeah, we maybe sort of thought about it, talked about it, and then eventually we just said, fuck it, let's do it.
So, 10th of June. So, 12 days before that, I was in Africa.
That's right, yeah.
So, you're right, yeah, I was in Accra. I didn't realise.
Accra.
I was in Accra, and then I went to... We did our first episode while I was in Ireland, in a hotel room in Ireland. I remember looking out over the canal.
Yeah.
I've gone to see Munster. Porridge.
Ah, that's right. Porridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who turns out not to be Aunt Moiré.
No,
The
the
mystery
saga
continues.
continues. The saga continues.
God.
I'm not convinced that somebody's telling you the truth now.
I only know one Irishman, and it's a woman. I mean, like one other. If it's not Flex and it's not Porridge, I think it might be Sarah.
It could be. It could
No.
be. Whoever it is has gone to trouble of making a Gmail account, so we're happy with that.
But they're currently on holiday, Costa del somewhere. So that sort of rules Sarah out.
Yeah.
So if you know an Irishman who happens to be on holiday in somewhere in Spain or Tenerife or something like that.
Yeah, you might be
Let us
getting thrown
know.
off by Irish bit now.
Yeah. Mystery. So yeah. 52 episodes. Well done, Tony.
Yeah, so we're
So,
52 episodes in. We swore we'd never, ever do video. And here we are. Live video
What?
calling.
That's what I'd never ever do. Podcasts.
I know, yeah.
That way
I
downhill.
had to work out what a podcast was. I had to go and buy a microphone, get the software. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. And it's no different today.
So hopefully we can call it a year and have a think about the podcast and another year. I'm not going to call it season. Another season of Chippy Tea. Let's hope
Yeah,
it's
it's a
set
season.
still.
Yeah, that's season one done. Yeah, I like
Let's
that.
call it that. Yeah.
Season one finished, done. The learner series. We've learnt our craft now. Now we
Yeah.
need to we'll fine tune it now and get better at it. Awesome. See
Right.
every day.
Cool.
So, seems as though this
Where are
is
you?
our 52th episode.
52th episode.
52th, yeah. Then I'm...
Fly, sorry. Just a fly.
Fly like a donkey with wings.
It fucking did, didn't it? It means that. Nearly fucking chipped a tooth when it came past.
It had Doc Martin boots and a tattoo.
It did, aye. I think it was one of Brian's mates.
So I'll throw it over to you, Danny. Straight over to you. What have you been doing this week? Not what have you got on press. No show and tell. What have you got on press now? No. What have you been doing this week? Because it's been a full week since we spoke. So what have you been busy with?
Very much single colour stuff, really. Last week was very colour heavy. Lots of multicolour jobs on press, which really slow things down for me. I love doing them. They're my favourite type of print. I get the most personal satisfaction from. I actually get paid more profit-wise. It's better.
You feel productive as well.
Time-wise, the more colours just multiplies the amount of time I have to spend on that press.
Yeah.
Almost, not even at an equal rate. You know, one colour, two colour. It's almost like extends the more you get into it because you've got more registration, etc., etc. So this week I thought, right, I need to see some jobs ticked off now. So sort of just shuffled some single colour stuff all into this week. I've just been blasting them out. Today, dropped a slight bollock. Ordered some stock last night, a little bit too late. Thinking it'd turn up today so we can get this done and then I can crack out some more single colours. And actually it turns out it's coming tomorrow. So I've got a bit of I don't know, organising I guess to do a little bit later today.
That's not too bad.
It's not end of the world. There were no deadlines or anything, so it's not. I've not dropped a major.
It's not bad if you can control the deadlines and you can control. You're talking to the customer and they're happy with it. Then that's not bad. But I see the Teddy Girl shirts.
Well, that was the job. That was one of the jobs on press today. So I'll try to. You know what? I might even print myself one. And again, a Teddy Girl. That won't really make sense, will it? I'll print one just to hang up, just because I like the story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I might? Hey, I tell you what I used to do. I'm going to grab something. I'm going to do this again.
It's nice to see we got well prepared for this.
Impromptu.
Show and tell.
Show and tell. My screen's quite small. I can't actually see if I even fit in frame. Like that. So I used to do these. And all this
canvas.
The canvas. I used to just what do we call them? Staple. Just staple them on.
Staple if you're old. Staple if you're young.
Yeah. And they
put some staples in it.
They look great up wall. So I think I'll do that. I think I'll do a Brian, a Teddy Girl. I'll have it on my wall.
I think so, yeah. I used to pay a guy to put them in picture frames.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I had a deal with a picture framer, and he would put them into picture frames. He was very good at it. Really good at it. You know, mounting them properly and then putting them behind glass. Yeah.
There's, who am I thinking of now? Black Dog in Australia. His shop, he's got like a counter on front and this whole wall, and it looks like it's covered in the same thing or something very similar. He sort of mounted his shirts somehow, and it looks ace. It looks really cool, and you just see all the prints throughout his history.
There's one over here, not far from where I am, called Inkify, and they do a similar sort of thing as you walk through from the shop into the workshop.
That's cool.
You pass by all his prints, and you know it's obviously really proud of them, and they're some really, really good prints. It works well.
You see, downstairs, I'm in the process of clearing. Then I've got to paint it and get it ready to put an auto in. So the staircase.
We've gone from if to when, haven't we? We've definitely made that change from if to when.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it has to be done. But the staircase leading up to here, obviously, might do that. Might line it with a lot of these.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Shame is, sort of didn't keep any prints I've done for quite a few years. That's what I used to do years ago.
Start keeping some now.
Yeah, I mean it's good practice in a way to order. So if you get a job for 100 t-shirts, order 103, because it doesn't really cost you that much. You know, it's not eating into your profit that much.
No, but if you've got to order them and pay for carriage, that's when it eats into it. You know, separately.
Yeah, but I'm on about, like, let's just say somebody orders 100 t-shirts. If you order 103 or 100 and, you know, there's one extra of each size as a habit, if you mess one up on press, well, you've got your safety net there anyway. And then if you don't, you can just make yourself a keeper.
Yeah.
Trouble is you end up with a box full of random scraps, don't you? But eventually they turn into test rags, I suppose, so it don't get wasted.
No. Thing is, if you order a medium, you'll fuck up a large. That's it.
Yeah, this is why I sort of changed changed it to order one of each size.
It's not bad here over there because you know we can get stuff next day quite easily. When I were up in Canada, it's like 3 days before you can get anything, and it costs more than the actual thing that you're trying to get. I got a part, and the part was exactly double to post. So it was like 60 quid to get the part and 120 quid to post it.
It's getting stuff here next day is usually okay, but it's press time, isn't it? Like for me, I mean, especially if you're printing water-based, you don't want to have to clear your screens of ink, leave them on press. I mean, if you're on an MHM, you can obviously just take them and swap them in about 30 seconds. It's not a big deal. It's just a preset registration. I don't know if any of the other presses have that option, but I'm assuming not. But so maybe it's not so bad.
Try-lock, so you've got to take a pallet off. Take a pallet off and start again.
Yeah. So it's not quite as simple, but maybe it's not. But really, you don't want to be chucking a job back on to do one t-shirt that you dropped a bollock on.
No.
You know,
You end up cheating. You end up trying to cheat and trying to do it quickly. I was at
and
a
then you end up
place the
messing
other
up.
day and somebody wanted one shirt out of a job that they did the week before, so I stuck it on the manual carousel. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll put the dryer on for you. No, we don't need dryer on. I'll just
Pass
flash
it or something. Yeah.
I'll just flash it. It's only one. What about the reg? I'll bump it.
Yeah.
It means you're fast, but it doesn't mean you're really good. The result's not fantastic.
I think it's. See, I have it written that if there are any like shortages within a limit, obviously you can't take the piss, that we have the right to just refund rather than reprint, because you can end up properly messing up your schedule.
Yeah.
If you've got to chuck a T-shirt on a 6-colour job or something like that, and usually I'll get a job.
The worst ones are named ones out there, or event ones where everybody's got a size T, and you've got to do it.
I get a lot of them as well. Now that this sort of CrossFit thing, and I seem to be, getting more and more of this type of work in, it is literally the entire gym has said, right, well, I want an XXL in this colour, this colour, this colour, this colour. And so if you drop a bollock on one, like chances are that is literally somebody's T-shirt. It's not just they've ordered 50 and just see what happens.
It's not going to stock. No, everybody's got one. Yeah, they're individualised,
Yeah. Well, that's just one of the many problems that us screen printers have to face on a daily basis, isn't it?
It's the same problem everybody has to face, though, as well. It's not just you. Everybody goes through that. And it's how you solve it, really. It's a measure of you. Whether you just get on with it, replace it, get it done, finished. Or, whether you whinge about it, moan about it, and try and get back to the customer, or don't get back to the customer. That's all a measure of the service that you provide. So it goes back to what we were saying before. You sell the sizzle, not the sausage.
Interesting.
You
I've heard that one.
Sell the sizzle, not the sausage.
I don't. Maybe I'm sure you've not pulled that out before. I like it, though.
Have I not?
Sense.
It's not usual to me. I normally repeat myself. You offer a service. You offer good communication, on-time delivery. Always be keeping the customer informed. Those things have a value. Those are the things you should sell.
I was thinking. I've been thinking this very recently, maybe even yesterday. I've noticed this month. Now, I don't know if it's just coincidence that I've happened to notice it, or if it's just been a particularly bad month. I was looking at the number of quotes that I'd sent and the number that didn't come back to me.
Now, you mentioned this last time. You were gonna sit down and analyse the numbers of missed quotes, weren't you?
Yeah. So I looked it up. I actually, just to really drill it home, I put a value to it. So whatever I've quoted, and I worked out the total that I'd lost last month in orders who would not come back or quotes. And it was a decent chunk, good bit of money. Yeah. Luckily, more did order than disappeared. And you're always going to have a percentage of people who are just
trying to find your price.
If tire kicking or price shopping around or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, it just highlighted a big failure on my part. And it's several things, really. It's communicating my USP, why you should use me over other printers, communicating that. It's a failure on my part to not communicate that better. The language and the process of quoting, leaving a quote, send your quote, and at the bottom of that email, almost leaving I don't know what the word is, putting your bait out, leaving a paragraph that requires a response,
The call to action,
Call to action, that's the word I'm looking for. So they're less inclined to just ghost you.
Yeah.
So I worked out there were 7 quotes that had disappeared. They didn't come back to me over the course of the past month. And those 7 quotes, 6 of them ghosted me, even after a polite reminder, a polite chase up email. Did you still need this quote? Is there anything I can help you with? Is there anything you didn't understand?
Are you still my mate?
Are you still my mate? If you've gone elsewhere, can you just let me know, then I can mark it off for you? Because it's good to have that feedback. If somebody goes elsewhere, you can't begrudge anybody. That's not the part that hurts me. The part that hurts me is when someone ghosts me and they sort of like leave you in the dark guessing. Because for my benefit of improving the business, I need to know the reason why. Because if it's too expensive, or well, we didn't really want it anyway, we're just tired kicking, or lots of other reasons. Or maybe they just was unimpressed by my gallery of work, or they was unimpressed with my email manner. I wish I knew of all this data, because I know where to work on, I know what to prioritise.
Yeah. What's the phrase? It's, if you think I was crap, tell me. If you think I was good, tell your friends.
No, yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, well, I need to write that down. Let me write that down. If you think I'm crap, tell me. If you think I'm beeping that. You'll see that on lots of people's Instagram still.
It's not mine. I'm sure I've seen it in a restaurant somewhere.
Yeah. I'll have that one.
Yeah. You and Stephen can have that one, because apparently he's having a scrapping background. I can hear him.
He was impressed as well. Stephen was impressed as well.
Yeah. Somebody's thrown a chip at him.
Yeah. But it did also lead me on to thinking, I used the phrase USP, putting across my USP. Now, if you think about it,
what is your USP?
Isn't it hard to have a USP now? Because there are so many. Let's just narrow it down to UK. My competitors, let's call it. There are so many good top screen printers in UK. There's a good healthy chunk of printers, spread evenly across the UK. The auto world, I can't really compete with the auto printers. In terms of quality, I think my quality is spot on, and I think my consistency is really, 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 really high. But I'm never going to beat an MHM. I'm never going to.
And there's a lot of them out there. I mean, at last count, MHM only, just MHM, there are 700 in the UK. And by UK, I am not counting Scotland. We're starting at the Scottish border, coming down, there are 700. Of which there are 160 to 180 in Leicester alone. And that's just MHMs. Throwing another. And
that's the Rolls Royce. So. That's the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, throwing another 100 or so.
M&Rs.
Yeah. I think there's about 100 M&Rs. There's maybe less than 20, maybe 10 rocks. So that number alone is taking you to sort of like 800-900 presses in the UK alone. And it's only 800 miles long, so it's pretty much an MHM every 100 mile. Every mile, sorry.
Yeah.
Every mile you travel from the Scottish border down to Brighton, you'll hit an MHM.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Or a screen print machine.
And as good a quality as my results are, and it's like there's a monster press out there, who can do the exact same, if not better, in a fraction of the time. How could I? But then you've got, by the way, speaking of monster press, that t-shirt.
You got monster press shirt?
Yeah, they sent me one. 15th anniversary.
Alright, well, wasn't it? Yeah.
I'm sure you've got one in post as well. I hope so. That'd be awkward, wouldn't it?
Know.
Nice coin.
Nice.
Will it focus? That's cool, that, isn't it? Nice coin.
I like that.
Sent me a little patch. I think that's heat press. I think that's got glue on back, so I believe you can sort of heat press.
Is it shiny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I might heat press that. I won't press it on this one, but put it on just a top I've got kicking about.
Yeah.
Cool that. Thanks, guys. Happy 15th anniversary.
Yeah, good guys. They got in touch with me last week for some help on a job, which was sort of like odd. I'm like, you guys know what you're doing. What are you asking me for? But there's still jobs that stump even the best of us. And the job that they showed me, I was like, no, I don't want to do that one.
Oh, I just happened to be in America. Sorry, lads.
So what do you think about this? Well, I'm really glad I'm 5,000 miles away. Yeah.
What was I saying?
USP.
Yeah, so USP, and then when you think about customer service, we've got fantastic customer service. We respond quick. We're friendly. We're approachable. You can ask us any question. Yeah, but every print shop in the country be like that. Shouldn't that be a standard? Is that really
standard?
a unique
You'd be
selling
surprised.
point?
You'd be surprised it's not standard, no. A lot of companies don't have any customer service. They just sort of like deal with 2 or 3 big customers, and that's all they revolve around. So when somebody small comes in, they're almost like, why are you bothering me? I don't want you.
No, well, to be fair, I can. I mean, even in there's a printer who's just started drip feeding me a little bit of work, and it's very awkward jobs at a certain quantity that actually slow him down, and he don't really make any profit off because it's taking away time from doing a profitable job, which for me, fantastic, and I appreciate it because those type of jobs are just bread and butter for me. But he's almost doing it. I'm sure he's doing it in a polite way. But yeah, it's not a unheard of thing. But yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to have a USP, I think, when you think about it.
You've got to have something
credentials.
that makes you different. Why should I buy from you? Because and we say this quite a lot. But all the machines print T-shirts. Why should I buy one from you? It's a similar sort of thing, and it's with some machines like the MHM, it's about, well, this one will be faster to set up, and that's not. You can't see that anywhere.
No,
this one will get to making you money faster.
Yeah.
Will it print T-shirts? Yeah, it'll print exactly the same T-shirt as this one. It's a blue one, a green one. They'll all print the T-shirts exactly the same. But it's how you get to that point. So the bit that you don't see, the unique bit about you, that gives you your USP, if you like, your unique selling point, your difference point. What makes me different?
Yeah. Somebody actually had a call. I had a Skype chat with my mate from Australia, Sam, listener of the podcast. Hell of a guy. And he was saying a little bit. My USP is actually my story. A little bit about me. And he actually, I've not got it. He gave me a pointer on a book, which was really interesting. I've not read it yet, but it looks interesting from cover. I'm sure it is. But it's a little bit about not my actual USP, but a potential USP is putting your story across, being personable, and putting across where you came from and where you're heading and how you're going to get there, and it has a certain value because
in the end, Danny, people buy from people, and that's what you've got to try and understand. People buy from people. So if you make yourself personable and your personality comes across, then that's what people buy from. They don't buy from Flipping Sweet, because Flipping Sweet is a faceless corporate entity. But people buy from Danny. Where do you get your shirts? I don't get them from Flipping Sweet. I get them from Danny. That's I've always said that people buy from people. You might buy a product, and it's not because it's the best product, but it's because you buy it from Danny, and Danny gets on with you, and it does this and it does that, and it does that, and it's Danny. And that goes whether you're buying a house all the way down to a 20 pence ice cream from Erin. It's still the same thing.
There's plenty of businesses and plenty of examples I can think of now where I won't buy or use certain suppliers or the certain places in town I'll avoid just because I think the owner's a dick.
Yeah.
So
it works in positive and negative. Yeah.
Of course it does. Yeah.
People buy from people.
So whereabouts are you, my old mucker?
I'm
still in the States.
I'm still in the States. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm in a little town just outside of Boston called Cambridge. I've been to this part of the world a few times. It's New England, New Hampshire, New York, everywhere here. It's like the English came across.
It's very English, isn't it?
And they landed and went, oh, here's a new village. What will we call it? How about Brighton? We've already got one of them. Yeah, it looks like Brighton. Why does it look like Brighton? It's got a coast and it's got trees. Okay, we'll call it Brighton. Right, down the road a little bit. Oh, do you know what this place reminds me of? Cambridge. Let's call it Cambridge. Oh, right, okay. Cambridge is nowhere near Brighton. Yeah, but it don't matter. Nobody's going to know. All right, go down a little road a little bit more. Now this looks like Dover. We'll call it Dover. And everywhere you go, there's an English name. There is even a Wakefield in Boston, Massachusetts.
No way.
Yep, there is a Wakefield in Boston, Massachusetts.
Flipping hell. I did look it up, I'm not going to lie. And they did say that Boston was the first town named after English town.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't realise we had a Boston. When you say Boston, I think like the Boston Red Sox or something like that. Like, I don't know why, it just sounds American to me. So I Googled it, and actually Boston, if I just travel...
It's in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, if I travel... we don't... This is probably why I never heard of it. We don't stray to those places. But if I go down in an absolute straight line, sort of halfway between Brid and London, I'll bump into Boston.
You certainly will, yeah. I mean, the most famous town that they named was the capital of our county.
So they've got a London?
No, county, not country.
Oh, York?
Yeah.
They've got a York as well?
Well, no, we've got the old York.
And what have they got? Jorvik?
They've got the new one.
New York! Oh, yeah, of course. Why did you do this to me, Tony?
Just pure entertainment, Daddy. Pure entertainment on my part. Nothing to do with you. You're not even involved. It's just to please me.
You're like a cat with one of those little...
Like a cat with a mouse that doesn't want to eat it, yeah.
I'll fuck with him. I won't kill him. I'll just tease him.
It's exactly that, yeah. So, yeah. We've got New Hampshire, we've got New England, we've got New York, we've got Newcastle. There's a Newcastle, but they don't call it Newcastle, they call it Newcastle. They put like a pause in there.
Well, we get Southerners who do that here, don't they?
Yeah.
Yorkshire. No, it's
Yorkshire. I know, yeah. I over here it's Yorkshire. I'm from Yorkshire. Where? Yorkshire. Oh, Yorkshire, yeah.
Yeah. God damn it. It's beat right, man. What's up with it? And are you at a new shop or a visit?
So this is an interesting one. So the reason I don't have much to talk about this week is I was supposed to be in New York on Monday. So I was supposed to do a shop in New York on Monday and then drive the 2 or 3 hours to Boston and do Boston for the rest of the week. So I set off on Sunday on my jolly little travels, got to the airport. Usual thing at airport, it's a bit crappy. Gets to the plane, gets on the plane, sat down, plane reverses out, heads to the runway and stops.
God, so you were basically about to set off.
Oh, yeah. We'd reversed out the chocks, we were facing the runway, and the plane stopped. We're like, oh, what's there? And the captain comes over, okay, we've just had word from Newark Airport where you're landing, and they've refused to accept any new arrivals in this airport because there's a huge weather front, a storm, thunderstorms, rain, torrential flooding on its way, and they're refusing to take any more. We're keeping an eye on the situation. We think it's going to be an hour. So we're going to pull back into the gate, and if you want to stretch your legs, you can get off the plane. So I'm sat on this plane. It pulls back up into the gate. We're going to wait an hour, and every fucker gets off. I mean, everybody. They all just got off. I'm like, my suitcase is on this plane, and I'm sat on this plane like, it's only an hour. I'll just sit on the plane. Then I realise I'm the only fucker sat on the plane. Yeah. Okay, I'm getting off. So I get off, and I sit at the gate, and I'm sat at the gate thinking, oh, God, that's another hour. So I text my guy. Who's waiting for me in New York. So it's going to be another hour, but by the way, there's some real big storms heading towards you. That's why it's closed. And he texts me back. It's gorgeous and sunny here. No chance of any rain at all. I'm getting suspicious now. Then it flashes up on me app. Flight's cancelled. Please seek alternative arrangements. So I trek through the airport, get to the service desk, which of course is now full. Sit there for an hour. Queue, get to the front, and she basically says, "Can't help you."
Computer says no.
Well, computer says no. So I need to be in New York on Monday morning. It's only Sunday. It's not like 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. So I need to be in Newark by tomorrow. I've got a booking. I've got a guy that's paid for me to go and help him do his shop. So I can get you there Tuesday night. You're not listening to me. I need to be there on Monday, and it's only Sunday. Yeah, we've got no flights going out. We've got one flight. It's $1,600. Takes you 16 and a half hours. You fly to Florida first, which is really flying south, and then you come all the way back up again. No, that's no good. Well, if you turn up to the airport on Tuesday morning, we might be able to get you a standby flight. What about tomorrow? No flights going tomorrow. Well, there's three airports around New York. Any one of them? No, all the same. All right, so I missed my appointment. I just couldn't get there. Nothing I could do. I had to stay in Minneapolis and just missed it. So then I arrived.
So you're not going back at a later date at all?
All my days are booked, every day of my full schedule. So it'll be difficult.
Damn. So
I missed him completely. So, from last week, I haven't really done any consulting.
So have you gone to somewhere that you were due just early?
I was supposed to do Monday, Tuesday in New York and then drive to Boston for Wednesday.
Right.
So I did Monday catching up with some work in the studio in Minneapolis. Then Tuesday went to Boston. So that I did my first day consulting yesterday. So I am at a shop,
right.
which is not a new... This is an odd one. This is a strange...
A young shop.
It's a young shop. So this is a guy who was printing retail. So he's printing retail and he's also selling records. He sells vinyl. So he's heavily into the music scene and has pretty much sold vinyl records his entire life. So he knows the industry, knows everything. And realises, there's some T-shirt sales to be had as well in the retail environment. So he's always had a Dave. And so a Dave is an old guy that's got a carousel.
Yeah.
That has got nowhere to put his carousel. So along steps this benefactor and says, look, put your carousel and your little dryer in the corner of my warehouse that's full of records and shirts. And you can live there rent-free if you print some shirts for me now and again. And this is how these deals are made. It's, look,
yeah,
you've got your own little customers buying ones and twos.
Yeah.
Very rare you'll do a 20 run on your carousel. You've been doing this for 30 years. You can make screens in the bath. You make screens with a hose and a 500-watt garden light and a piece of glass. That sort of level. He said, look, if I want some shirts doing, you can do me some shirts and I'll pay for it with free rent because I've got a corner you can use in my massive warehouse. It's huge.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
So in moves Dave and starts doing a bit of printing, and pretty much soon the owner goes, it's a bit inefficient. Is there any way I can make this better? Yeah. So goes to SPSI to look at buying a Velux, a DTF machine.
All right.
And walks past the automatic press that's set up there. And goes, ooh, what's this?
This looks cool.
Oh, this does this. I like that. And then,
but is he not doing ones and twos?
But he wants to do more. He's only doing ones and twos because it's Dave on a carousel, on a manual.
Right, so it's more of a restriction rather than a...
Yeah, so because it's Dave on a manual, there's no way he could possibly sell loads. Because Dave on his manual can't do more than 20 shirts a day.
Oh, you're hiding in the bathroom.
It sounded like they're in this room, didn't it?
Chuffing did half.
Could you hear it as well?
You sly old dog.
So what? They're coughing worse than me, so I don't want what to do with them.
I'm going to say, I've passed it on, Tony lad.
Does that mean they can hear me? Can you hear that?
It's you, right. Knock it down. You're right, Neil, love. Which one's your back?
Yeah, so...
She's got a couple of Sambucas, hasn't she?
So the story is born then that, okay, well, I'll buy the press. Well, if you need a press, then, you're going to need a dryer. So buys a press and a dryer and then buys a spider and all the bits in between.
Now, that's a hell of a jump in it, that. There's no in between, is there?
We spoke about this before, haven't we? I reckon you're 200 grand in. And this is a 200 grand gamble. Now, I think that only happens in America. I'm pretty sure I can't recount that story for an English guy.
No,
because I just don't think we've got the cojones to basically gamble 200 grand when I haven't sold it, when I'm selling 20 t-shirts a week.
It's not just that, though. It's just not as accessible. It just isn't that easy to get that type of finance, I don't think, anyway, in my experience. I just don't think we have that access.
No, not now. Not since all the toxic debt that we went through in sort of like 2008. Then no, we don't have access to that kind of money anymore. And this guy's set up. He doesn't print. Got no idea. So he relies on Dave. Dave doesn't know how the machine works. So he's got a couple of guys in who are also printers. But they print at home for themselves and for their music band mates.
Yeah.
So it's this 250 quid. You remember we said we can start printing for 250 quid?
Yeah.
With a hinge top, an old lamp, and your mum's bath.
Bit of sandal flip-flop.
Yeah. So it's those kind of printers, and they've been brought in onto this press. It's like, well, what the fuck do we do with it? So that's my job now, is to come over and show them how to get the best out of this press. You know, they'll probably print 1,500 shirts a week. So the guy knows he can sell 1,500 shirts a week, wants to sell more, wants to take it to the next level. The machine will do those 1,500 in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've got to find a way to make it work. Just bought a coater as well, an automatic coater.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this guy's, you know, just starting out, don't really know what he's doing. I walk in and say, make sure we've got some screens. So I'm heading by sort of like 5 125, 5 110s, 5 125s, and 5 230s. So that's 43, 55, and 90.
Yeah.
So I'm heading by them. I walk in, he's got 350 screens in a library, all labelled up, all ready to go.
Oh, one of those.
I'm like, oh, Jesus, you already know what you're doing.
You've done some stuff then.
Yeah. All sort of repeat jobs that he does work for. So I'm like, you're all right. So, yeah, but we just, you know, we need some help on how do we get it onto the press and make it look good and make it, you know, make it profitable.
Yeah,
so
but sometimes
we can just keep sending it around till it looks pretty.
Yeah. You can, you know what, you can go around in circles for years and years and years. You can be a printer, you know what you're doing, you've got a business, you've got money coming in, you've got orders, but you're just not quite getting over that ump. And it's those little things, those little marginal gains that, because you're living in this, you know, you're on this never-ending cycle, you've not got time to get off and just like, oh, hang on, we could do this, or we could just, if we just make these list of little tweaks, it can make such a big knock-on effect and difference.
Yeah, sometimes you need to break what I call terminal velocity or escape velocity. You know, you're working so hard, but you just can't quite get escape velocity. You can't get to that point where you just go like that.
Yeah, and you see over the clouds of. It's almost like you're working and you're in this frenzy and you're ruffling up all this cloud. You just can't get your head above it to just look down and go, you know, there's a. Wow, that was very metaphorical, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? We were in the clouds and everything there.
Wow. But I think that's something that I'm trying to force myself to do this year. Like I say, the marginal gains, I almost want to achieve just one marginal gain a week. And I can already see the knock-on effect by forcing myself, instead of living in this shit, all these jobs have got to go out, got to go wash the screens now, etc., etc., etc. Find a marginal gain, tick it. And my headset is very much, I'm always thinking now about what can I do now? What can I do to just improve? Where can I get more sales from?
We could just start using yellow stickers instead of white stickers, then you'd be fine.
Oh, the world. Honestly, I've seen some life hacks on Instagram that blew my mind. How that bloke has not won a Nobel Peace Prize by now, I do not know. Honestly, God. How does he get up done? Honestly.
He's constantly labelling stuff. Can you imagine opening this bean cupboard and everything will be labelled up and with dates and in order, and I'm like, well, God, for God's
Heinz
sake.
baked bean can 1. Heinz baked bean can 2.
Scan QR code to replenish.
Favourite fork. Probably my third favourite fork.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
Knives in priority of sharpness.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's too much. It's too much. I'm all for being organised and finding little life hacks to make your life easy, but jeez.
Continuous improvement program I'm all for, but when you're improving for the sake of improving, it's like, no. Don't change just for the sake of change. Change to make something better.
There's a reason people treat OCD.
Yeah.
It's not Anyway. Can I nip for a quick wee? Because I did hear somebody come in 10 minutes ago. They might hit my bike or out. I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
What postman brought me a bag of washers. Bless him.
Okay. Odd.
Now I'll tell you.
Did you order them?
Yeah, I have. No, I just bring me random gifts. We've got a deal, and what it does is it just loses stuff off the back of down every now and again. It's just pot luck what I get.
You just got Postman Pat fired.
I got a PS2 last week. Anyway, so these washers. So remember we went back to quite a while ago now. We were talking about setting up my new screen room upstairs and trying to work on the humidity and dry screens in this screen room. And have a separate place for screens rather than mixed in with the same place where I wash my screens and coat my screens and store my screens. They used to all be in the same area. Now I've separated it and put it upstairs.
So this is dark storage.
Dark storage and dry storage. Now, when I coat my screens and store them in this room, next day, I usually do it end of day, but next day they're perfectly dry. It's a good 50% humidity, and the dry perfect. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to improve that room and be able to wash out a screen and then stack it and have it dry really quick, rather than put it in a drying cabinet with heat, heating it up. So I'm trying to accelerate the amount of how quickly it draws moisture out of that room. So these washers, so that I can seal. This is where the story's going.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering where the washers were tied in, but yeah, okay.
So that I can seal the room with a tarpaulin. So I've got a tarpaulin which is going to seal the room, and then I'm going to have a butcher's curtain for the entrance. The like clear strip things. So I'm hoping that'll obviously. Ziggy from Monster Press used the term a screen sauna, and that's exactly what I'm trying to create. So that room's always hot in summer. It's like 25 degrees with no heating whatsoever. It's a warmish room. So I'm hoping by sealing it off, it'll improve that even more. And now the next step, I've already got a humidifier in there. It's like a £300 humidifier. It is a home humidifier. It's a plastic thing.
Dehumidifier.
Dehumidifier.
Taking the moisture out of the air.
Yeah, it's a top-end home dehumidifier. It's a big plastic unit, and it draws water out, and you empty it bucket every couple of days.
Yeah.
But I'm wanting to go one step further, and I've been looking at industrial dehumidifiers.
Okay.
Now, the one I've seen, it's actually used for sailing boats. So you have it on your boats or your yachts or whatever. It's a big metal unit. It's about £1,000, and it draws moisture out much more efficient than like a little plastic home unit. And it can be left on 24/7. And rather than it being
where does the water go?
Well, this one actually pipes the moisture out.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So I will have to basically have a sealed room, this big extraction unit, pulling out moisture from in air, piping it out, pushing it under underneath the room into the wet room. And I'm hoping I can get to a point where the humidity and the airflow in that room is so efficient that I can wash out a screen and put it upstairs 10 minutes and it'll have already started drying, you know? Or if I can dry screens in half an hour, that'd be real handy. And the big thing for me is to use as little heat as possible. I don't want to, I'm drying screens now, turn the heater on. What I like
cabinet,
is...
This is what, you're basically building a big drying cabinet, and it's the debate. I was always So a drying cabinet is basically a insulated box with a heater and a thermostatic control.
Yeah.
So you're looking at between $5,000 and $7,000 for one of these units.
Yeah.
Quite expensive. The best one I ever built from home was a enclosed unit that took 2 racks, so 2 full 25 screen racks, with an air curtain at the top.
Right.
So you know when you walk in a shop in England and above the door there's an air curtain blowing hot air?
Right, yeah. So it's like an over-door heater.
Over-door heater. These over-door heaters were about £100. Because they were up high, nothing dripped on them, they never got wet, they never got burnt out. They had a thermostat control, and they kept the room at a certain temperature. And then you had a fan blowing, and you had an inlet and an outlet into the room. Because you can't just heat the box; it's got to have moving around. So that's sort of like one of the best ones I ever did, and I liked them better than the off the shelf sort of Vastex chambers that you could buy. But the advantage of the Vastex 20-screen heat chamber is its full control. That means I can now tell exactly, no matter what time of day it is, whether it's windy, rainy, or whatever, it's always 30 minutes and the screens are ready. And because the heat source comes from the outside, you're not exposing one screen to lots of heat.
No.
So the sides walls are ventilated. Yeah. So it's not a heat blowing; it's a heat blowing like a dryer, if you like. Around the outside.
It's not direct heat hitting a screen and warping your mesh or losing tension or anything like that.
So many people use a Glen heater on the floor, close to a screen, and they can't understand why the bottom of the screen doesn't register, but the top of the screen does.
Yeah, well, that's my situation at the moment. If I wash out a screen, it has to sit in front of a Glen heater. Now, I've obviously learned that you can't get one of those cheap screen drying cabinets and put a Glen heater on, shut door, and it's, you can do that. You can dry it in half an hour, but it'll just melt your mesh, or at the very least it'll lose tension and warp it. So you sort of have to use it wrong. You have to leave the door off, or you have to leave the door at just a little bit of an angle so you get a bit of airflow. You have to pull the whole box well away from the heater because you don't want hot air.
You just want movement of air.
Circulation. And then I even have a fan pulling air away from the door so that I've got that movement, But then it's only the first 3 screens that dry. I mean, you have to come back half an hour later and then shift the other 3 screens.
Rotate them around.
So it's inefficient. It'll get you to a point on a budget, but honestly, like you say, I reckon you can make something for the same price.
Yeah.
That do a better job.
Yeah.
So
control the moisture, seal the room, which is what you're doing with your tarpaulin. Control the moisture, which is what you're doing with your humidifier, and have an airflow, so move the air around.
Yeah, well, I've got one of those over-door heaters in my Amazon basket, and exactly like you said, I'm hoping to have it on a thermometer setting. So whenever the temperature gets to a certain point, which in summer it might barely ever do, because it stays hot in there, but in winter it'll drop. So, like I say, I don't want to have to turn an heater on to dry screens. If it just comes on every now and again to keep the temperature at a certain level, that's going to be way more cost effective. Huh? What?
Who's an eater? I know you're getting it to dry screens by turning her on. Talented guy.
She's in your toilet fucking throwing up. Rough night up Sambucas. Hey, wedding Rome, Tony lad.
Cinema.
What stays in Vegas? Stays in Vegas. I'm gonna say this. So yeah, that's my screen room. The current ongoings with that improvement.
Oh, well, we need some pictures. We need some before and afters.
The only thing I'm missing is some yellow labels. Right, so we shall now proceed, if you're quite happy to move on, to the next section of the podcast, which I lovingly title Agony Aunt Moiré. Now I shall bring up my emails.
No, we haven't got more emails from Aunt Moiré, have we?
Oh boy, we've got a few.
I think I might work out what it is now.
Well, I thought I'd worked it out. I mean, it turns out all wrong. Unless they're lying to me, which is not very Christian of you.
You might be wide of the mark with that one.
Oh yeah, shit, yeah, true. Let's not get into this, do we?
Let's not get into that one now.
Yeah. It's right, have I read this one? So I'm going to read it for you.
Okay.
So, my dear little boys, how are you both? Well, they're quite smashing, I believe.
Super.
Your auntie is away on her holidays to the scorcho weather of the Costa del Muchos. I don't know if that's a real place.
No.
Costa del something or other.
When was this?
This was on the 12th. Oh, this was on yesterday, actually.
I know someone who went away.
Oh, you might solve this mystery.
Yeah.
But I still have time. Oh, actually, so do I. But I still have time in my diary to listen to you two banter on about life and laughter in your magnificent podcrust. She didn't put podcrust. She put podcast. Whatever. What I just said in reverse.
Yeah.
The wonder of technologies these days. My nephew Bernard is showing me how to use it while I sip my sangria on the beach. But I still have time in my diary to listen to you two banter on about life and laughter in your... I've just read that. I do have a question though.
Okay.
While using a manual press for many years, I developed a sore right shoulder and elbow. I know it's a common complaint, but I wonder whether there are some things that can be done to alleviate the pressure on the body while printing manuals. Do you have any tips? I would suggest getting one of those Lee Stewart plastic black squeegee things. I'm sure they're fantastic. Tony Fleury recommends them. So ask your doctor, that's what they'll tell you.
Now, be careful now. So, I'm on the same fucking...
There's a lawsuit coming in.
I have the same opinion of you in that they will give you sort of carpal tunnel syndrome because you're constantly putting that pulling back.
Honestly, do you want to know my honest opinion in that? Honestly, having used one...
I've never used one, so I'll bow to your greater knowledge.
I'm ashamed to admit I've used one. It didn't cause me any trouble. It did, in that respect, it did alleviate a bit of stress on your wrist and forearms while printing. When I was going through a particularly troublesome time, I was getting loads of aches and pains from using the ergo squeegees, I would use that for a little while. And actually, yeah, it did alleviate it a little bit. There's a long list of reasons why I wouldn't use it. But that one particular point, I shall allow them.
So I'm in America and I'm at a place where they sell them, and I'm walking past it and I see the literature attached to the ergo squeegee. And I thought, okay, we'll have a look at the literature. It is basically the American version of our health and safety.
Right.
It's fully approved and backed by them to reduce any wear or...
Is that right?
It is, yeah. So it's FDA approved or whatever it is over here. OSHA. It's OSHA approved. OSHA, which is Health and Safety Executive in America. And it's fully approved for use by them to reduce the amount of pressure that you put on your arms. Now, I'm I'm a born skeptic. I don't honestly believe at all that it looks anywhere near comfortable, and it looks like it will accentuate as any sort of carpet tunnels. But somebody's done a study or paid the right guy, and it's actually OSHA approved.
Well, I used it for, let's say, months, and it's quite comfy. I'd say it's comfy. I never had any pains or anything. There are a lot of things that I didn't like about it. The fucking squeegee falling out, the squeegee blade bending in corners because there's not enough of a lip to sort of hold it rigid. It always falls in. You get ink absolutely everywhere. Just anyway, yeah. So but if that's your thing, but anyway, yeah, I would say shoulder and elbow. Shoulder.
So for me, it's all about limiting the movement. Last couple of weeks ago, we were up in Canada, and they were pulling a shirt off the press, taking 4 steps to the top of the dryer because that's where they thought they should put everything on the top of the dryer and put it there. So it's being efficient in movement, and usually the shoulder is from twisting. So it's the twisting movement. So sometimes it's worth getting a pallet truck and just moving the dryer or moving the press so that you're not performing that awkward twist or that awkward move every time. So really efficient movement is number one for me, making sure that you're not taking extra steps. And, the only reason you're taking 3 steps instead of 1 is because you can't move the dryer or the extension cord's not long enough. No. Make sure that you're like 600 mil away from your front of your pallet to the start of your dryer. And that's where you stand. And at that 600 mil, you can pick up a shirt, put it on, and just your feet don't move. And you're nice and efficient movement. Yeah. When you start doing that twisting movement and picking stuff up and twisting movement and picking stuff up, it's not always pulling a squeegee. It's sometimes handling the garments. So make sure you're very efficient on where you place your garments. If you're right-handed, have them on your right-hand side. If you're left-handed, have them on your left-hand side. But just make sure that you're not just putting them there because that's where the table is. Get everything really comfortable. Imagine you're having to do it 3,000 times a day, every 4 seconds. Then you make it more efficient.
Yeah, I have the same. That is the problem I have, and I have done exactly what you've just said. But it's in relation to a bad knee, bad feet, and a bad hip, and it is exactly that. And also, I have a pedal in the equation. So, and the pedal's not at an ideal. The length of the cable's not quite long enough. So I was almost taking a step, pressing the pedal every couple of seconds, like constantly, thousands of times a day for months and months and months. And it was making a right mess of my hip and my knee. Because I was almost, and then also to make it even worse, pivoting that way to press a pedal, standing up, putting a lot of weight onto one knee, and then twisting the opposite way to grab my garments. So I was like proper grinding down my knee over and over all day. So ergonomics, maybe we could call it. Shop ergonomics.
Efficient movement, really efficient. By efficient, I mean, lean, efficient movement. No wasted steps, no extra movements that just aren't necessary. Get everything close to hand before you start printing. Have everything you could possibly need without moving your feet.
Yeah. And shoulder and elbow. Have a look at your squeegees. I've had, God, me, I've been through like every squeegee you can get now at this point. And actually, there was some are definitely better.
Yeah.
B-twin?
B-tween. The one that the double squeegee that we hijacked in Idmar.
Oh, yeah. Well, I ain't done all yet for that, but you never know, one day in the near future. Squeegees, I play with different squeegee handles. I've actually found one of the cheaper options is actually puts less stress on my arms and shoulders and stuff. I've got a shitload of ergo squeegees if you want to buy some off me.
Look at the height as well.
Yes, good point.
If it's your shoulder, look at the height. Yeah. If you're bending over to too much, then it's going to pull on your shoulder. Also, if you're reaching out too high as well, and both can be solved so that the press can come up and down to a certain amount, maybe 6 inches. But also, you can build a wooden platform.
Well, you can get elephant feet.
Yeah,
I've got mine on an elephant feet.
Yeah. So
I'll show you.
Or you can put a pallet down with a piece of MDF on top. So you build a step so that you've got actually a little bit more body weight to push down if you're only slight.
Yeah.
Like Aunt Moiré is obviously slight.
If Aunt Moiré's only got a fucking 4-colour cruiser, don't put too much weight, you'll snap it.
Shots fired.
That might also be a hint at who I think it is now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it might not be. It might be.
Isn't it?
Might be a 5-foot Welsh guy. You never know.
Welsh?
Yeah.
Must be Irish.
I know it's supposed to be, but
Get borderline racist, all these impersonations. Right, hang on, I'm going to find you my
regionalist. We'll call it regionalist.
Yeah, stilt. You won't talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Finding something for you.
All right, okay.
You watch what
Elephant feet.
Yeah.
I thought elephant feet were that stool that you stood on to help you have a pee.
Is that what it is? I don't know. I've maybe got the word in wrong. I can't flip and find them now. Oh, there we go. They're not actually. They're called square rubber feet stoppers. Oh no, they're not them either. Wow, this is entertaining.
Are they on your press?
They're on my press, yeah.
Just move out of the way, we'll have a look.
Don't know if you can see. No, you can't see. Anyway, they're like big, square, plastic razors. And mine are like, what, I don't know, 12-inch. And they're for putting underneath big, chunky bedposts. Like, like big wooden block 3x4 bedposts. And you put one of them under each foot, and it's raised the press about 12-inch. And I sort of heard that the ideal height for your pallets or your platens is sort of just above the hip. You want to be just above your hip type of thing.
Yeah.
As a sort of rule of thumb.
Yeah, when it spins round, it needs to hit that hip bone so it hurts.
Yeah, yeah. And the Anatole were quite a bit lower than that.
Yeah.
So I raised it a little bit. But yeah, maybe I'll put a link in the episode description if anybody needs some little elephant feet to raise it up. But that did make a difference, the height.
Just looking at my toes, I've already got fucking elephant feet.
Your middle finger looks like a fucking elephant stood on it. Trap in a door or what? They do! Who sat on that fucker?
That was actually some racking. That metal racking.
Right.
We were dismantling some metal racking, and me and a mate. And I had one side, he had the other, and we were supposed to put it down together, and he just dropped his, and then the vibration went up like that, and it just went and squashed mine.
Ouch. Not nice, is it?
Little ET finger, yeah, it's all right.
Little ET finger. Right, so Aunt Moiré, thanks very much for your contribution.
Keep them coming.
Next week's. Keep them coming. It's very fun. Would you like to hear a review? We got a review. I say a review.
Maybe
a comment.
Okay, comment. Yeah.
Comment, but it was sort of a review. This is one of the best. Now I'm a little bit upset by the language used here. One of the best screen printing podcasts out there. Thoroughly recommend it. Full of banter and helpful tips on the art and science of our trade. Thanks and congratulations on a solid year of podcasts.
Is this Do You Even Print, bro?
No, that's not. No, that's our mate Sam from Australia.
All right. Okay. Good. Good.
Wants to come on at some point.
We have to have the debate. You've raised it now. You have to have the debate. We've done 52 episodes. We've had one person on. Only ever one person.
No, we've had two. We've had
Two.
Sarah and we've had JFP.
Oh, we've had JFP, yeah. So we've had two people on, We've done a segue of a little 10-second videos, which I enjoyed, and we said we'd do some more of them.
Yeah,
and we want to know, where do we go? Do we get people on? Are you interested in other people's stories? Are we not interested in enough for you? It's been a year. You've just about heard everything we've got to say now. Is it time to start selling out and going down the road of getting guests on? Or do we have more montages and little video clips? Because it's really easy to send a little 10-second video clip in and answer some questions like, the burning issue of the day, which is, are they called platans or are they called pallets?
We've not done one of those videos in ages, have we?
No, so we need to do one of them. And we need some feedback from you guys. Let us know what you let us know what you want to hear. There's lots of people out there doing origin stories on other screen printers, which pretty much. You've been on them all. You've been doing the podcast you haven't been on. That's why you started your. I think that's why you started your own. You ran out of ones to be on. You even did Shirt Show, didn't you?
I did. Well, that was the first one I ever did. I was buzzing about that. Actually, I had a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. So the last episode, the Instagram post teaser, in the description I put something along the lines of, if you want to listen to the best podcast about screen printing in the industry, listen to this Shirt Show. Tagged them.
You tagged them, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I put, and then if you're just still hungry for a little bit more screen print talk, why don't you consider listening to our episode? Didn't even get a like. Shirt Show completely blanked us, which I thought was quite disappointing.
We're competition.
Just a little bit of fun. I was just trying. It was all. Well, I guess it is, but it's like just tongue in cheek, honestly. Like those guys are the OGs. They did it in the first place.
100%.
And it's all a bit of fun and games to me, but apparently not.
Apparently not. You've irked some people.
Apparently so.
Irked to the very core.
We've done about hour 20. You got 10 minutes, or
we're going
to start wrapping up?
No,
10 minutes.
We're good. Yeah. What have you got on your list?
My next thought. So we've talked, as we know, beginning of this year, I became staff free. I went from 3 employees to 0.
Nobody wants to work with you, basically.
Over the course of this year. And I must admit, I am now struggling to have screens ready.
Perform daily tasks,
Yeah. I've realised the biggest thing that I'm struggling with now is I've never got enough screens ready to just do a job. And there are days I'm not printing because I've got to go wash screens and stuff. So I think I'm going to have to submit to the fact that I'm going to have to get a screen, somebody in that screen room,
swamp donkey,
even if it's just once a week. Yeah. So I think I might ask my dad
to be a swamp donkey.
Yeah, my first thought was, well, I'll have to advertise it. It's one of those jobs, it's casual hours, you know what I mean? It's not who wants a day job, Who just wants one day a week, which is probably just about enough for me. I could, if I employ someone for that one day, they could wash most of my screens and it's done with them for the rest of the week. The chances of finding someone who just wants that one day and wants to just, well, we call it for 0-hour contracts.
Yeah,
I can't offer somebody a guaranteed amount of work. I'm just not at that stage. And
I'd be putting them onto a pallet using DPD, sending them to someone, sending them to Alex, a Supreme Screen, to put through his new.
He'd have it done in minutes, wouldn't he?
And then he'll post them back to you next day.
Yeah,
it's going to cost you the postage. That's all.
Yeah,
I actually thought about
that is a business.
I thought about
this
as a business,
isn't it?
But the carriage is just expensive.
Yeah, that's what
you'd have to have a van. You'd have to have a van.
Yeah,
driving around.
But then you sort of
pick up your screens, give me your screens, and I'll bring them all back to you tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I mean in Leicester, and I reckon if you walk into a lot of them shops, the screens look atrocious.
Yeah,
so Leicester would benefit from that. So yeah, I think about giving my dad, seeing if my dad wants to do it. My dad's a retired firefighter now, so maybe he'll want a day to come and knock about at shop and get piss wet through and cold. And
you got any mates?
No.
Lined that one up for you, didn't I? Proper lined that one up for you. I'm really sorry.
Dear. It hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it says a lot more about me than it does you.
And then I think I might even give my mum a job.
Yeah.
I might get my mum to come clean up for me.
That's shirts ended, right? On a big job. On a big job, you know, a 500 job. I think you should have had something.
Yeah, well, that would have been ideal. But I want to come in and just clean up for us. You know. RJ used to knock about. RJ or Jasmine Vales used to, like, whenever they finish, would potter about shopping, or just dust this, or get Hoover out, or whatever. It's not getting done now. It's like a layer of dust. Like, it's not ideal anymore.
You can't do it all on your own, Danny. It's impossible.
Can't do everything.
It's impossible. Trying. You need to get some help in.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to have to do that.
When I come back, I'll come and help you for a few weeks.
Well, there's an episode to be done together. We'll get a little makeup studio set up, you know, in front of me, a new auto, maybe, if we're really lucky.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a proper episode. Get a few tinnies in. A very good episode.
I think that'll be a good one, yeah.
Speaking of Alex, he's got a new venture selling stone-baked pizzas.
Yeah, I guessed and guessed about what that were going to be. And
you wouldn't guess, wouldn't you?
Well, I got rotary heat press was about as close as I got, and then all of a sudden it's a fucking pizza oven. I'm like, I was on completely the wrong planet with that one.
Yeah. I hope he does well with that. I think that's awesome. Really
so
cool.
I've seen this trend over my many years. T-shirts and coffee shops.
Yeah, or donuts.
T-shirts, coffee shops. T-shirts, donuts. So I've seen it sort of be closely linked, and I can't find the link myself. I'm gobsmacked.
Hipsters?
It's either that or it's cash money.
Does it raise the question, do we need an extra bit of income? Is selling T-shirts enough these days? Maybe this is it.
Probably not.
Is it enough?
There was
a place in starved before so long.
Place in Wakefield started. I don't even remember T-Boy.
You told me this story.
Yeah,
it started off as like a brand or something, didn't it?
Yeah, and that family now has Doughboy, which is donuts.
That's right, yeah.
So, and the donuts, you know, you pay like a tenner for a donut. And I'm thinking, well, why are so many people obsessed with making and selling donuts? And it must be that there's about 20 pence worth of dough in one, and you sell them for a tenner. In the same way that there's a quid in a T-shirt that you can sell for 20 quid.
Yeah.
So it must be that high markup retail sort of side that you can do to them. And it must be the same with coffee. I mean, our mates at Dewstone, they're selling their stuff, and there's a beautiful coffee shop at the front there.
Is that right? Oh, I didn't know.
Next week,
I'll see them one day.
Dewstone's beautiful down there. It's a little place called Princetown. It's absolutely gorgeous part of the world, and you know, there's a lovely little retail unit that he did have his press in. He's moved it to another unit now.
Yeah, right.
But the coffee shop was. I mean, I couldn't work there because I just sit in the coffee shop all day long, just making these fucking gorgeous coffees that he makes.
Yeah.
The place where I'll be going to next week, I'm going back to Rochester, where there's a little coffee shop, an arcade game, and selling low print local in the front, and there's a machine in the back.
Right.
And you've seen pictures of that one before, where it's like a big open retail shop.
Well, there's one, I don't know if I'm thinking, is it Octoprint or something? And they've got a coffee shop and a retail, and then it's almost like in a line. Coffee shop, retail, auto. It looks an awesome little setup. It looks quite cramped for printing, etc. But like, it's a cool little, you know, you're printing your own shirts, you're putting them on display, and people are sitting chilling out, having coffee or whatever. It's cool.
Your own merch is good. Yeah, your own merch is good. Over here, I'm seeing a big rise in merch for breweries.
Oh yes,
because
it's a big industry.
There's a small craft brewery sort of boom at the minute, where everybody's got an IPA that's, you know, tainted with dandelion, burdock, and dog shit. But it's a great cloudy IPA. I'm like, no, don't drink the cloudy beer. It's not ready to be drunk yet. But with it goes, you know, the merchandise. Over here, there's like a brand called Dangerous Man. And we've got the brewery here where you can see everything being made. And then next door is the merch shop. And then next door to that is the where you buy the beer in the cans and off license.
Right.
And it's a great little sort of business to have. And everything's
very bold,
branded.
isn't it?
All the merch is branded. It's all screen printed or embroidered, and it looks superb.
I think you just have to take the limits off your mind. I think I saw this little venture of Alex's, and I thought, it just lit a little spark in me. I head in and thought, I think I live in a very limited mindset, and I think it's developed over a lot of years where I've sort of maybe my confidence has been knocked to the point now where I'm very tunnel vision and I've got to make this print shop work, etc.
It's
with
got
no
to be screen print.
deviation
It's got to be
whatsoever.
t-shirts. It's got to be water based. It's got to be screen print. It's got to be this. Yeah.
Very box. I've got to do it in this way. Otherwise, I'm a failure. If I don't tick these boxes, because in my head, well, everybody else does that, so I need to do it. But sometimes you've just got to deviate and sort of go with trends or whatever.
Take advantage. You could just you could knock that little wall out there downstairs into a saloon door with a shelf on it. Start selling little brown bags of discharge activator.
Hey. No, I'm not saying it'll do funny things to you if you stick it up your nose, but it might do. Oh, God.
Yeah. Having some zinc sulfate. Look at me, I'm off my tits on zinc sulfate. You've just sniffed my activator. Stop it.
God, can you imagine sniffing that?
No.
Awful. I could imagine sniffing anything, but especially that stuff. I don't even want to get close to the pot.
No.
Mind up my nostrils.
Right back in the early days, we used to use ammonia to stop water-based ink thickening. So,
do they still use that?
No. It's very hard to buy now. So we used to go to the pharmacy.
But is it not used in the manufacturing process?
Yeah, it's still in there. You can smell it in there.
I won't name any names, but
what?
I'm to one could smell very strong ammonia.
Well, at the time, it was in a brown glass bottle, sort of like a big 1.5, 2 litre brown glass bottle with poison and the thing on the front of it, and ammonia. And we used to have to buy it, and it'd sit in the ink room because water-based ink, you would add a thickener liquid.
Right.
This thickener liquid, you basically get the colour that you want, get everything sorted, and then you'd adjust the viscosity. So it started off pissy thin because all the bases were pissy thin. So you'd buy thickener paste and you'd pour some thickener paste in and mix. Now, you would mix until it reached the thickness that you wanted. If you mixed forever, it would thicken up and go solid. So once you got it to the thickness that you wanted, to stop that thickening process, you added a few drops of raw ammonia. And the ammonia stopped the process. So very chemical. But you can't give pure ammonia to a set of 18-year-old lads who think it's funny to sneak up behind someone and go, smell that! And you're like, oh. It's like smelling salts.
I used to have a mate, right? How can I demonstrate this? I used to have a mate, right? We used to go to pubs when we were when I was a lad. We used to go to pubs. I used to have a mate, and he'd go after a pint, and he'd drink after it. I won't tell you where he stuck his hand, but let's just say it went down his kegs. And then he used to go to the bar with his finger like this, and he used to go. He'd go up to the barman and go, "Smell this pint. Does it smell off to you?" And then put it up to the nose and go, "Oh, fucking hell! I'll get you another." He used to get himself 3 pints.
That's disgusting. It's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
The type of riff-raff I used to talk about it.
Yeah, I've got a cheesy pint.
Oh, no, it won't cheese it. It will be the other side.
Oh, right, okay. Oh. Shitty pint. I've got a shitty pint. That is minging. Yeah.
Here, does this pint smell like shit to you?
Oh, it's minging.
I don't talk about with him anymore.
For good reason. Yeah.
Oh, God. Right, Tony, on that bombshell, let's leave it for now. Have we talked much about screen printing?
No,
Probably
not at all. No.
But
no, because where I am,
sometimes
I've got 3 days at this place now. So I've got, I did yesterday where we did a lot of fundamentals of speed, pressure, blade, angle, mesh.
5 hills.
Yeah, they've got the 5 hills, and today we're going to go through and start printing some stuff. and using those 5 hills.
Yeah.
Got himself a little auto coater, which was a little Grunig unit, single screen.
Yeah, I was looking at that other day.
Grunig 460.
There's 2 options.
It's a 420 or a 460.
There's one that has 1 quarter, and then there's one that has the sandwich.
This has got the sandwich. This is front and back.
Right. So I think that's like the more expensive of the 2.
But do you know what for it is? It sits on a table. It doesn't sit on the floor. It sits on a table, so it's not big. Just like a tabletop version. It's a tabletop version. It's only about 1 metre wide, and it's about 1 metre tall. So, this thing's really small. It's great. Honestly, nice and simple. Just throw it in. Every screen comes out perfect. And when I demonstrated it, to me, I get lots of little kicks from different places, but we've got them all stood in this little dark room. And by the way, it's a dark room, but it's a room with a lamp like that with a yellow bulb in it. It serves as a dark room. And we did our first one, and they all watched it, and they went, oh, ooh. And they all collectively went, ooh. And the screen that came out was like perfect edges, all straight and all square, and every screen exactly the same. And what we've done now is we've got rid of Dave.
Yeah,
because
Dave.
Now Dave don't want to do it anymore.
Right,
Dave wants to retire. Dave's in his 70s, 65, 70s, and
is this the same bloke? He's about in the past.
No, that's a different one. That was Derek.
It's another Dave.
That's a Derek.
Dave.
That was a Derek. Derek's in his 80s.
Dean. I can't think of any more Dean names.
So that means now that even the owner who can't print can coat screens.
Yeah,
completely and utterly de-skilled. With coating, drying, and making the screens is now just a matter of pressing each button. So they've got a spider. So just pressing the button on the spider, out it pops.
Yeah.
Dip tank, again, everywhere I go, I try and tell people, stop fucking washing out and developing with high pressure. Stop it.
Yeah.
If you're using high pressure, something's wrong. You shouldn't need high pressure. 1 minute in a water dip tank. After that, it'll fall off. And if it doesn't, adjust your time.
Yeah. I mean, I can put a screen in my dip tank for a minute, and I can leave it in move and it'll fall out. Like, I don't even have to wash it. If I wanted to just go piss about for 2 minutes, I'd come back and it'd be pretty much washed out. So it just roll down the screen eventually.
Yeah.
Speaking of dip tanks, I know we're wrapping up, but I've got 3 dip tanks now, but I've got 2.
Did you ever do the 2?
No, well, this is where I'm going. I've got 2 5 or 6 screen dip tanks. Big CCI. It's like a big plastic bucket.
DST1, DST2. Yeah.
That's right. Big bulky things. I think I might be wrong in this, but I've come to the conclusion that it's a bit of a sales trick. This. Let's make big ass buckets for putting multiple screens in, because then we'll have to sell shitloads of chemical. Because it's more efficient to me, actually, I'm going to use the phrase efficient to me, to stick a screen in, count it for a minute, take it out, wash it. Because if you put 5 screens in, one of them will start to melt, and then you dilute the solution, and before you know it, this time in a couple of months, your water's piss weak and you're having to put new chemical in. Now, I got a bit of a bargain off of a print shop who were sadly closed down, and they were auctioning off a ton of gear, and I got some racks, and I got a little 1-screen washout booth. So I'm gonna siphon out the chemical, fill that 1-screen booth up, tank up, sorry, and I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to spend a fraction of what I will be doing on chemicals, because I'll need like a fifth of a chemical to fill that tank up.
Yeah, and
I'll get 0 dilution, because literally bang on a minute comes out, and there's no drip or anything like that. But I think I think they're doing it on purpose.
That is probably one of the most efficient ones I've seen.
Right then, so what are the hell of them little...
They're to keep the screen down.
Oh, right, so you sort of push it down
and lock it under there, yeah. So that's almost the equivalent of a 1-screener.
Yeah.
Because the lid's always open as well, so it's dead simple to actually use.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, actually.
And that
look at that.
is a one-screen washout booth. Now, I like the one-screen washout booth,
I like that it's got like an angle.
but I think it should be angled the other way.
Yeah, well, yeah, you said this, didn't you?
I think it should be angled so the top is closer to you.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably
So
wash
that
better
it
than
bounces
splash.
backwards, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. See, I wonder. I mean, if you've got auto reclaimers, this is not a concern to you. But if you're washing in a dip tank and a washout booth, the equipment we buy, we can buy 5-screen dip tanks, but are you really gaining out? If you have the big dip tanks and if you have a big washout booth, I can imagine a lot of people still just do one at a time, you know. So
when I had a dip tank, doing 5 at a time was essential. And because what I would do is I took one out, I'd put another one in. So what were you before doing? And just melting in thing? I had 30 or 40 screens to wash. So I'd put 5 in, wait a couple of minutes, take my first one out, put it in my washout booth, take my next one, put it in the back of the queue. And then stripping actually took me like less than a minute. So then take it out, put the next one in. So they're in there for longer than a minute. They're in there for about 5 minutes, but it's okay. It's not too bad. They're not in there overnight. So we've got like a little conveyor belt going inside the dip tank. So my front one's coming to the back, my back one's coming to the front.
I know exactly what you're saying, and it's a process I've tried. But anything longer than a minute, it starts to melt for me. So I'll put a screen in, bang on a minute. The first, let's just say I put 5 screens in. The closest screen to me comes out, bang on for a minute. Just power wash it, grab the next one. It's already melted and diluted my solution. So if I do that process as a standard, in a couple of months I've got to replace all my chemical.
Yeah.
If I just put one screen in for a minute, I understand it's quicker, but the more you do that process, the weaker your chemical gets, the longer you need to leave your screens in. So over a long period of time, even though at the very start you're blasting through screens dead quick, but the longer the period of time you go over, that process is getting slower and slower because you're having to compensate by leaving your screens in longer, you know?
So my last 2 visits that I've done, we've sacked off the dip tank. It can't be coincidence. So I like dip tanks. I'm a big believer in dip tanks. I think in a big production environment, they work really well. But in the last 2 places I've been, we've tried the dip tank. It's not working. We've gone back to a spray bottle and a scrub brush. And Caleb up at Thread Station texted me 2 days ago and went, "What a fucking game changer." I used to hate cleaning screens. It was the worst part of my job. I used to put it off and not do it. Now I fucking love it. I come in, spray, scrub, it falls off. That's how it should be. Now that doesn't mean that the dip tank was wrong. It meant his chemicals were wrong. I watched him top up the dip tank with some raw stripper, and it should have been fantastic. Next day, it didn't work. Next day, the chemical had died. I'm like, this is not normal. I don't know what's happening.
He's leaving it, right.
He's leaving him
diluting.
A minute. He's leaving him in a minute.
Right, so let's just say his ticket is, it's got to be either dilution, and then I'm thinking, are you leaving a lid off? So is it evaporating and it's losing its potency?
He actually put a lid on it. No, I think it was just bad chemical. So I said, what's in here? Oh, well, I got this when I started 2 years ago.
All right, so it's 2-year-old chemical.
So we don't know what it is. It should be all right, but let's see. And he throws it in, and everything just fell off. And we're like, yep, that's how it should be. Look, pull it out of there. Done. Pull it out of there. Look, this is how easy it is. Next day, he's like, Tony, the fucking screens are horrible to strip. I had 20 minutes on one screen. Like, why? I pulled one out, and I rubbed it, and it's not even touched the emulsion. Well, I've never seen it before, but now we're left with a conundrum. So, okay, let's test what it is. Let's get the chemical, spray it on, rub it. No, the chemical's not working anymore. How can it die after a day?
What if the chemical?
I don't know what was in the chemical to start with. I don't know what was in the text to start with.
What if it's sunk to the bottom? So maybe if you agitate it.
Tried that. Yeah, tried that.
Really?
It was just something. The two chemicals had hit each other and cancelled each other out. And I don't know what he put in. You know, there's no way of knowing what was in there already. And the other one is a place in England, and they had the 1,000 litre sort of IBC swamp monster birth canal. It was horrible. And we went to squirty bottle, scrubbing brush, and it's just 10 times easier. And so we're faced with a dilemma at the minute. Now, I love dip tanks, but you can't beat a squirty bottle and a blue scrubbing brush.
What chemical were they using in this bottle? Do you know? Do you remember?
So we split it. One ink remover, one stencil remover.
Yeah, of course.
So the process is ink remover, scrub, rinse on low power so it doesn't bounce back and hit you in the face. And then straight away, while the screen's still wet, spray stencil remover, scrub, agitate both sides. By the time you've agitated both sides, it's pretty much had a minute. So pick your gun up, start at the bottom. Done, finished.
But what chemical was it specifically? Do you know? Do you remember?
Easy solve. Easy way.
Got some of that.
Easy way.
Got some.
There's some.
I
think Supra is the 2-in-1, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. That's more of a dip tank.
Supra is the 2-in-1
tank.
And there's a screen wash and dehazer, or screen wash and stain remover.
Yeah.
Is that 701?
Possibly. You know me, I'm shit.
And then there's
701 wins a bell.
And then there's a stencil remover as well.
You know what, I'll try it. I'll test it. Obviously, that's what I always used to do in the past, and then recently sort of come back to dip tanks. I think the key to dip tanks is, one, dip tank chemicals should be clear. You should never see pink or blue dip tanks, because if you are, you're leaving it in too long and you're diluting the solution, and this is where the problems start, and it just
is yours clear?
Gets worse and worse. Yeah.
Is it?
Pretty much. It's not crystal clear water, but it's not bright pink.
Not many people do that. A lot of people leave it in that long that it makes the frame go rusty.
This is my argument. Well, this is my argument. If you go over that limit and dilute the solution, it just starts snowballing. And yes, dip tanks then become sort of pointless. But if you use it properly, and I have a timer, I literally have a timer on the side of my washout groove.
Yeah, Thread Station did. They had a timer.
Tap it, put it in.
It's in there a
Never,
minute.
ever longer than a minute. Yeah, bang on that 60-second mark.
And that's enough to soften the emulsion?
That'll soften the emulsion without dissolving it to the point that it starts diluting the solution, which I think is the way to use them.
Yeah.
But this comes back to my whole point. This is why I just do one at a time, because you're at risk. If you put a few in, that's when you start to risk.
The emulsion. Yeah.
Well, that was a thrilling end to the podcast on dip tanks, chemicals.
Somebody's learned something from that. Somebody's learned something from that.
Well, we had to do something, didn't we? We had to talk about something other than
seagulls and coffee.
Yeah.
Your mate Pootash.
Pootash. Tune in. Does this smell like lemongrass to you? Tune in next week, where Tony's chest infection will have
finished me off.
Improved by about 3%.
It needs to improve.
Americans won't give him any.
I've got a 30-mile run to do on Sunday, so it's got to fucking improve by then.
Are you getting to watch the racing whilst you're out there?
The Formula 1?
Yeah. I didn't mean dogs, did I? It meant horse racing.
You might have meant dogs. Yes, I've been watching it. Yeah. I was cheering Lando on.
It was a good race, Silverstone. I was just a bit upset by one of the participants of the podium. But other than that, it was a good race, actually. I enjoyed it. It's pretty obvious how I did not want on the podium.
Lewis? Okay. Thinking, what have you got against Max?
No, just a bit. Everyone's every single race.
He's on his way
fanboys.
do you know what? I really liked the fact that McLaren have found something to challenge.
McLaren.
You know, and the fact that they found something to challenge. It's
as long as it's not a blip.
It's taken that boredom factor away of like, okay, we know Max is going to win, so who's coming second, third, and fourth? At least now there's a little bit of a fight there, even though he did run away with it, but there's still a little bit of a fight there.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for McLaren. I hope it's not just like a one race. We've just put all our eggs into Silverstone to
we built a Silverstone car. Yeah.
I
hope not, because it's our
fingers
race.
crossed. Lando's very likeable. I like Lando.
Yeah.
Unlike Mr. Sir Lewis Hamilton, who is a total prat.
You keep your feelings hidden well, don't you?
I do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it won't be Nick de Vries, will it? Because they fucking fired him after 10 races.
Poor Nick. And let's be honest, Danny's
past it.
Danny's proved he's a very unadaptable driver.
Yeah.
Having in a car.
He's been in 3 cars and made them, not one of them's worked.
Yeah. And at some point, you've got to say,
it's not me, it's you.
It's not the car. Well, yeah, like, if Danny's just not adaptable, you know. He obviously can't. If you give him a good car, he'll be fast as out. But, but I'm waiting. There's another rumour that Mick is going to be jumping in Williams. And I've got my fingers crossed. Because, as you know, I'm a big Schumacher fan. So, just to see Mick in. But I thought what they did to Mick was harsh. What they did to Nick de Vries, good grief. So cutthroat, isn't it?
Well, they did it to Daniel Ricciardo. You know, I posted something the other day in the full sort of circle of life. They've done it to everybody from Daniel Kvyat and everybody in between. They're horrible, horrible people in their young driver program. Plus, they've got Liam Lawson.
It's very harsh.
They've got Liam Lawson in their driving program, and they've skipped him for a 35-year-old who hasn't won anything in 10 years.
No. Well, Hastert said, didn't they? Getting Mag back in the Nick. I mean, it kind of worked out, I guess.
Desperation.
But when you put somebody in that type of environment, it's got to be detrimental to their ability to perform. Like, Mick was in this pressure cooker with him, Gunther, treated him like crap, didn't he, really? He was an horrible bastard to work for.
Yeah.
Like, how can you perform at your peak? You know, you're gonna.
You're only as good as your boss, and they are. You're only as good as your boss.
I am my own boss. This is why I'm fantastic.
That's not what your dad says.
Well, haven't we had a very eclectic episode?
It's been different. It has been different.
Very sorry. Was it Max?
Max it, yeah. Sorry, Max it. There's not much screen print in this one. You'll just have to bear through it, maybe fast forward through it. But we'll do a podcast with Maxie when I'm over there.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, let's just admit defeat. We're going to get some guests on. Give us a shout if you want to be on. Let's have a chat. Somebody did ask, actually, in comments, to ask you about your experience with embroidery. So I'm going to put that on my notes, and I'll bring that up again next week. So I'm sorry I didn't ask it. I totally forgot.
Okay.
But I have wrote it down. Embroidery. Ask Tony. Full stop. So we'll touch on that next week.
Right, okay.
Right. All the best, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to us for 52 weeks.
Did you get emotional then?
I'm welling up. It's lovely. It's just such a lovely, warm feeling to pretend I've got friends.
Right, well, it's been a year, so I'll let you sign off.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
So flipping much. I've really enjoyed this past year. It's been ever so lovely. It's not been a hindrance in the slightest to my actual job.
You see, in our house, we've got a rule that if we're being sarcastic, one of us has to put our hand up so we know. There we
go. Comment, like, subscribe. Send us some money, some beer.
We'll work for beer.
Stickers.
We'll print for beer.
Free T-shirts. Whatever. Just chuck it at us. We'll take it.
Yeah. Want to be featured on the podcast? Yeah, feature on the podcast. All you have to do is apply Danny with gifts. His address is out there on the internet. You can always get to him. Send him some free gifts. You will guarantee get a mention. How's that for advertising?
There you go. And
why have we never thought of that before?
I know, honestly. God, well, it took us a year to learn the ropes. But
Jewelstone did send us a pin badge.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so
Actually, I would like to get Jewison because there's two, isn't there? There's Hewitt and then there's the other fella.
there's Rory who owns it. Yeah.
Rory.
And
yeah, and then
there's Hewitt.
as part of the
Yeah.
company. We'll get them both on here.
Yeah, why
A
not?
bit of banter.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in their setup because it's very eco-conscious.
Great
It sounds
place.
like they have a retail and a print setup.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So yeah, if you'd like to be on, get in touch and we'll have a chat at some point. But otherwise, Tony, enjoy your day, mate.
It's just
You want to
started.
get some work done.
It is 8 a.m. Is it 8 or 7? It's fucking hell, it's 8 o'clock.
What time do you start work? About 9?
About 8:30.
How far away is it? About 35 minutes?
10 minutes. Really good.
Yeah, right. You're good then. Right, so that was my attempt to sign off. You'll do it properly.
Right, no, okay. We know you've done. We're okay. If you like what you hear, like, subscribe, comment. We'd love to hear from you. And all that remains to be said is, I'll see you.
I'll see you. All the best. Right, Tony, you have to do this. No, we're doing time.
Huh?
On, Tony. In time.
In time with you.
3, 2, 1. I'll save it. Shit, my mouse is looking. Hold it there. Where's it gone? Stop. Yeah, I've done it.
Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.